What's up, guys? CJ here, and welcome back to another all-new episode of Super Friends. I believe this is number 81, correct?
Yep.
The Good Morning Super Friends edition, as it's not even that late. If I talk about it, it's gonna make me look bad. But I woke up 15 minutes before recording this, so excuse any lapses in thinking on my part. But really excited to wake up and talk some DC Comics, right, guys? Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo-woo. We're all morning people here, that's for sure. You guys were up earlier than me, though. All right. I'm joined, of course, by Luke.
Hey, guys.
And Tim.
How's it going, everyone?
How are y'all doing this? I was going to say this evening, but how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing fine. Yeah, I'm ready to talk DC. Let's do it.
Ready to talk DC Comics. How about you, Tim? How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing alright for the moment.
Let's see how this episode goes first. So we actually do have a few topics here today. This will probably be a short episode. Nick couldn't join us this time, but it'll probably be a short episode because we just don't have a ton to talk about, but we do have a few things. And we're going to start off in the realm of the DCEU and talk about the Wonder Woman trailer. Now,
but before we do that, do you want to plug anything for us?
I do want to plug anything. See, this is why morning podcasts don't happen usually. But I do want to mention this podcast is, of course, brought to you by Loot Crate, that awesome subscription service that sends you a box of unique, geeky, nerdy goodies every single month, including an exclusive T-shirt you won't get anywhere else. And this month's theme is Guardians, of course, because Guardians of the Galaxy 2 came out last week, so it's going to have stuff from that movie, or related to the characters, I should say, Star Wars, Goonies, and Destiny, interestingly enough. And you can actually get that box, including that exclusive T-shirt you won't get anywhere else, even cheaper, 10% off to be exact, by using our exclusive link, www.trylootcrate.com/hybridnetwork, and the promo code BRIDGE10. So check that out if you're interested. Get those savings on us. But without further ado, let's dive right into the DCEU. DCEU. See, this is the kind of things that happen. Let's dive right into the DCEU and talk a little bit about Wonder Woman's trailer. Now, on the heels of last week's episode, we talked a little bit about how the marketing push for Wonder Woman doesn't seem like it's there. I do want to highlight one of the commenters pointed out that might just be because we're leading up to Guardians. They didn't want to kind of be drowned out, but now they're starting in earnest, and maybe this is the first sign, the Wonder Woman new trailer. Did you guys watch the trailer, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I assume. I didn't ask last night, but you guys watched the trailer. What did you guys think? What was your... Let's do this. What was your favorite moment from the trailer, Tim?
Well, I think I'll get back to that near the end, because that's worth its own discussion briefly, but...
True.
Mostly, the trailer, it shows stuff that we've seen before in the other TV spots in here, so... It didn't have that huge an impact on me. We saw more stuff with younger Diana, but other than that, it was pretty much just stuff we had seen before, which isn't that bad. Just I don't get what the point of creating a whole new trailer was.
You're right, and I think we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But Luke, what did you think of the trailer? I guess we'll go back to favorite moment towards the end of the conversation. But
yeah. I guess kind of the same way. There's really not a whole lot of new stuff in it. And I mean, that's not, like Tim said, it's not like a bad thing, I guess, because, at the very least, it's not showing us, like, huge plot. This isn't like BVS's final trailer, at the very least. No,
I think I'm almost curious as to, like, whether they learned from that or not. And that was, like, in the back of their minds as they were cutting this together. It's like they were going to show Ares, but Patty Jenkins was like, no, we can't do it. You remember what happened to BVS?
Yeah, I mean, like, at the very least, this one doesn't have, like, the score going to it, I guess. It has that song, which
is interesting, yeah.
People have different tastes in different songs. Who am I to judge Warner Brothers for choosing that song? But anyway, yeah, I mean, like, it doesn't show anything new, and I was already, like, interested, but this doesn't really get me any more interested.
That's an interesting point. I think that's actually... Because we talked about it a little bit before we recorded this, kind of briefly. that's the double-edged sword with this trailer, right? Is they didn't show off too much, and really their whole marketing campaign. I gotta hats off to Wonder Woman. I don't know, it's like I don't know what the movie's gonna be about. Well, Wonder Woman, duh, but I don't know what the story of the movie is gonna be about when I'm going into the movie theater. I mean, right now, Chris Pine crashes on Themyscira, nursed back to health, and he and Wonder Woman go out to fight the war in Europe. After that, I have zero idea. Really and truly. So
I think this trailer's the first time outside of like interviews they referred to Dr. Poison by that name.
That's another good point they did. We knew previously because of interviews and I think some toys and stuff like that. Well, actually on toys she was referred to as Dr. Maru, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where this is really one of the first official times they're actually calling her Dr. Poison. I did notice that in the trailer.
Yeah.
One thing I will say based on what I said on mine, this is kind of the problem that I've had with a few of the superhero trailers. Like Guardians of the Galaxy had the same problem with this, where they were so afraid that anything they show would show any bit of the plot that they just kept showing the same things over and over again, and it made all the trailers get more boring over time.
And see, that's a really interesting point, because I think that's the other side of that double-edged sword I was talking about. It's like you can not show a ton, but if you do too many trailers, you fall into this trap of, we're just showing people the same clips again. And I think you mentioned in talking about this before, they've shown that same shot of Wonder Woman sliding on the floor and like slashing
that pillar. It's been in like every trailer and every TV spot.
All 5, yeah. I mean, I get it's a cool, reasonably cool shot. Have they fixed the CGI since the first trailer? Because if I'm not mistaken, that was the one that made her.
They may have.
God.
Yeah,
that was the one that, like in the first trailer, made her look like Sarah Jessica Parker.
I mean, maybe we have to go back and like compare them, but yeah, I don't think they changed it that much.
I want to go back and double check.
Same.
But no, so that's, go ahead.
I was gonna say my favorite thing. I guess it's not really the trailer, but one of Steve Trevor's partners was confirmed to be Black Hawk, so I thought that was kind of cool.
Saeed
cool.
Tamawi. He is. So what's funny is that's actually another interesting thing that we can talk about for a little bit. I completely forgot about that. So he posted on Instagram, or he said in an interview last year that he was playing a superhero, and everyone was like, "Yeah, all right, dude." And then I guess he finally confirmed that he is. Yeah, he's playing Blackhawk. And when you look at pictures,
the superest of heroes,
of course. But
he
when
has
you look
plane
at
powers,
yeah. When you look at the pictures, he's a dead ringer, for the role. So, congrats, Saeed. You are playing a superhero. I'm sorry we doubted you.
I still have my doubts.
He's like, he just thinks that guy looks cool.
I don't think we can count that as a superhero.
He's a good guy at the very least.
There you go.
He's a nice person, but he's more so just a pilot with a picture of a bird on his chest.
I was gonna say, well, see, that's another debate for another time. I'm not sure we want to get into this right now. It's like in that basis, it's like, would we consider someone like Nightwing a superhero because he's an acrobat and knows how to? That's a good debate, and I love Nightwing. But let's maybe save that for another day, because I'm not mentally capable of doing anything more than talking about this Wonder Woman trailer. So the rest of the podcast is going to be interesting. I guess to round out this topic, what was your guys' favorite moment from the Wonder Woman trailer? If you had to pick one, what was your favorite moment? For me, I really do like. It's kind of hard to narrow down the stuff on Themyscira. But specifically, I think I'm going to love Chris Pine's scenes on Themyscira. I can't remember the exact line, but, she says something. It's kind of, again, it's like, from that first or second trailer where she said, like, I was made out of clay and then Zeus gave me life. And he's like, no shit. It was kind of in the same vein.
Oh.
Yeah. It's kind of in the same vein as that, but...
Yeah, he's like the Mark Wahlberg of the DCTV.
Basically.
He's there to react to stuff.
Well, we're going to save this for the Transformers podcast.
But, favorite moment, I'm going to be completely honest. I don't really think there's a favorite moment in this, because the scenes that I always thought were the best scenes were in other trailers. I don't think they were in this one.
Well, you can say what your favorite scene from a previous trailer was.
Well, I always like the one where she's like blocking all of the bullets with her shield. She's like taking on a machine gun, and then she's taking on like a bunch of infantry.
Yeah,
Fire. I always thought that was
wall and...
Yeah, like that was a really good scene. I really like that.
Oh yeah,
but they didn't have that in this one. They just had her sliding on her knees, cutting the board, which I guess that's cool. But I mean, she's taking on like an entire
building.
Yeah, she's taking on an entire fucking army in the other one. I mean,
yeah, Wonder Woman is she's the deconstruction team from like Home Improvement, World War I France edition. She just takes it out, and then they rebuild the house, and that's the rest of the movie. There you go.
This time they're just cutting out the middleman. Instead of having a superhero fight, knock down the building, she's just gonna knock down the building and then fight the villain.
Knock down the building first. It's like
get it out of the way.
There can't be collateral damage if the building's already destroyed.
It'd be interesting to me if it's like a Assassin's Creed thing where it's like she's in the Animus reliving her memories and she's hearing voices like Battlefield 1 told me that like World War I was much more devastating, so she just starts destroying buildings. It's like these shouldn't be here. This almost looks normal. It's supposed to be war torn, goddammit.
I'll fix it, don't worry.
Tim, what was your favorite moment?
My favorite moment is a small moment where they show her from behind walking in a party and she has a sword in the back of her dress. And based on the angle of the sword and the fact that it's not moving, the sword is either really short or has to be clenched directly between her butt cheeks.
And I think from what we've worked out, somebody diagrammed this out. Believe it or not, we'll post a link to it. Somebody diagrammed this out, and the sword isn't short. It's not short. You can go look at other shots in the trailer. The sword is not short, and so she's holding it kind of with the broadside, not the edge, on the flat of her back, which of course makes sense. The issue is the sword is most definitely either over her ass and just kind of poking out of the dress, or she's got Luke Cage skin and she's just kind of clenching it. Which is gonna make for an interesting scene.
Be really impressive if she is.
That sounds like some like shit that Frank Miller would write. What Wonder Woman do? Like,
you can't fuck with this. Swords do nothing.
CJ's greatest quotes. That sounds like some shit that Frank Miller would. What was it like? Write do? I can't even remember what I said 5 minutes ago. So we're actually just gonna move on. Tell us in the comment section down below what your favorite Wonder Woman trailer moment was. Doesn't have to just be for this one. It only took 12 minutes for my say something nice about DC experiment to work. Superfriends image rehab starts now. But moving on, we're actually gonna.
What do we got next?
That's the last DCEU topic we have, guys. We got a little DCTV coming up, but right now we're gonna talk about the realm of comics. Comics, yes, and talk a little bit about another famous hero becoming a fascist douchebag, and that pains me to say, fascist douchebag.
It pains me to hear that.
Douchebag speaking. Oh my god.
So fucking early. Jesus.
And what's funny is it's not even fucking early. It's just I'm like a degenerate piece of shit.
That's right. It's like,
oh my goodness. But so
what
sorry.
are we talking about?
Okay. Nightwing is actually, I guess, gonna be doing his own fascist thing now. That's right, Nightwing. In addition to like the Injustice Superman kind of being a dictator, and Captain America now being literally Hitler, Nightwing is going to do his own thing in this new miniseries, a 6-issue miniseries called Nightwing: The New Order. It's going to be written by Kyle Higgins, who did Batman Beyond 2.0, I believe. I might be wrong about that. I've been saying that. If I'm wrong, correct me down below. I just remember that.
I think he did.
I can't remember who's doing the art.
Power Rangers series with Boom Studios, and
That's
he wrote
true.
Nightwing before.
That's true. See, I should be advertising one, the Nightwing thing, but two, also the Power Ranger story, because that's actually really cool. So let's go ahead and dive into the synopsis right here, and you'll see exactly why I'm saying this. Other than, like, I'm sure we have a little image of the cover here, and you can see he's doing there's a statue in Russia that looks like that. So he's Soviet Nightwing, which would be cool if it was like a spin-off of Red Sun, but it's not. Nightwing: The New Order is the story of a future world without weapons, where superpowers have been eliminated and outlawed. So without weapons means superpowers have been eliminated and outlawed. The man responsible, none other than Dick Grayson, aka Nightwing, now leader of a government task force called the Crusaders, who are charged with hunting the remaining supers. But when events transpire which turn the Crusaders' aim toward Grayson's own family, the former Boy Wonder must turn against the very system he helped create, with help from the very people he's hunted for years, the last metahumans of the DC universe. Now, this is really interesting. There is a little panel that they kind of share. We'll get back to the covers in a second. But you can see in these panels, this looks like it's I don't know if this is going to be a flashback or a scene from the movie. You see Superman literally beaten, bloodied, rebar all through him, lying in the dirt. He looks up at Nightwing, and he asks, "What did you do?" And Nightwing says, "I'm sorry, Clark, but I have to save the world." And then as he walks away, you see the Flash is dead, Wonder Woman is dead, Green Lantern is dead.
Lex Luthor is dead.
Lex Luthor is dead. You also see, I think, Shazam there. I'm judging by the little cape, but Superman is dead as well. Which, of course, begs the question, how exactly did this happen? But the answer is, we don't know. So what do you guys think about this? Another character kind of taking that turn towards authoritarianism and totalitarianism.
Well, it's an Elseworld story, right?
That's true. We should point that out. It is an Elseworld story. It's actually Nightwing's his first Nightwing-based Elseworld story. He's shown up in other people's, but this is his very own Elseworld. Believe it or not, character's only been around for 70 years.
He's only been around longer than the Joker.
Exactly. But so what do you guys think about Nightwing, even though it's an Elseworld, kind of taking this turn towards totalitarianism? Tim?
Well, based on the description of it, it sounds sort of like a comic book version of Equilibrium, or some of those other stories that Equilibrium was based on.
I agree. Actually, I think that's a really good comparison. We're going to see Nightwing just finding a book and crying, but no, the
Nightwing Gunkata.
Please.
All of them doing the same exact positions, and yet he's somehow better.
His stance is better. He's lower into the stance. It's I agree. I think the Equilibrium comp is actually pretty good because it does sound like that. It's like somehow the tables get turned, and now he's got to work with the resistance on that. It just begs the question for me, like, how did this happen? What was the turning point? You can see Nightwing is Nightwing. He's already got the suit. He knows Superman, so it's like some event must have happened that made him turn. And it's one of those things where I'm kind of curious, what was that event? But Luke, what do you think of this turn for Nightwing?
It's pretty out there story. It wouldn't have expected a character like Nightwing, but I guess that probably is what makes it so interesting. The whole, why did this happen? How did this happen? Why did he come to this conclusion? Because I think for a lot of people, they would always assume that Batman's the one that would come to this conclusion.
Exactly.
But it's Dick that does. So it also begs the question, I didn't see Batman anywhere in these things.
My curious, in these panels, he's not in the background from what I can see, which makes sense. So I'm wondering if, it almost sounds stupid because I think, I don't think Nightwing would really dishonor Batman's memory by doing something like this. But if Batman was the one that died, potentially, that would make a lot of sense.
That might.
But
that might make sense.
I was looking at the cover here, and it says, like, kind of the tag is, our heroes are human. It looks like a propaganda poster, and I guess that's supposed to be the selling point. It's like, our heroes are human. They're not metahuman. And so that's a big reason why Dick Grayson was chosen, I guess. It makes sense. I didn't even consider that to lead
Maybe
this.
He's working under Batman.
He might be,
that's
potentially.
actually a good point.
Another thing that I want to point out is if you look at these cronies, I'm sure we'll include a link to the scans and whatnot. If you look at these cronies that he's got, these, I guess, the Crusaders, they look a lot like the Batmen from the early, like, I think it was actually the first arc of Detective Comics and Rebirth. There are some differences, but they do look like super similar. And so I'm wondering if that's just a coincidence or what. And, especially in the universe, I'm wondering why they're designed like that. I mean, of course, Nightwing was Robin, Batman, but it's.
I mean,
yeah, if Batman isn't on their side, then.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it reminds me a lot of in Kingdom Come whenever Batman like he gets too old to like really go out, so he has like a bunch of drones that he sends out. So if Tim is right, like he's working under Batman, these could be like drones that Bruce created, and Dick is like an actual human crusader or whatever. But
that'd be interesting.
He's his step drone.
Yeah.
His adopted drone. No, I'm really interested in the event. Is this going to be something that you guys are going to be picking up, or kind of wait for more info?
I'll keep an eye on it. Again, it's weird, but it's weird enough to where I look at it and I'm like, yeah, I kind of want to know what happened.
I'll probably read it at some point after it's done.
I definitely am I'm probably going to be picking up day one. Let us know what your thoughts are.
Oh, we know you are.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, moving on to our TV time, the return of that segment that everybody loves. We actually have some interesting stuff to talk about. Spoilers for The Flash, the last 2 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah, spoilers. Click away if you don't want to know. But future Barry Allen is Savitar. That may come as a shock to you if you didn't click away fast enough. You're probably going to leave a dislike. But it shouldn't, because it's been around for about 2 weeks now. So future Barry is Savitar, and that was revealed at the end of last episode, and it kind of left this major question in people's minds: what happened to Barry to make him this monster? And this week kind of dived into that a little bit. Luke, I think you have some more answers on that for us.
Yes. So in the last episode of The Flash, Cause and Effect, we learned that back in the year 2024, future Barry Allen told present Barry Allen that he'll use time remnants to try and defeat Savitar, but the monster will kill them all. What we didn't know is that one of those time remnants actually survives. That time remnant is then basically shunned by Team Flash and everyone that Barry Allen would love. It goes crazy. It is sent into the Speed Force, where slowly his mind starts to go, and he comes to the conclusion to become Savitar. So, big surprise. Savitar is a time remnant. He's not really the future Barry Allen. He is a version of a future Barry Allen.
Which is because
his origin makes no sense, because he just popped into being for no particular reason in roughly this time frame.
Yeah, it's just
vexing.
a really complicated way to do this that didn't need to be done this way.
It almost sounds like
he was created to kill Savitar, but then becomes Savitar. So where the hell did Savitar come from the first time?
It's not like, what's weird is it's not the, and actually I might have a problem with this, because previously they've portrayed time travel as like the Back to the Future 2. It's like, if you go back in time, Marty, and change one thing, you're going to create not Donald Trump in the future, and he's going to be your stepdad, Marty. But
You were going into Rick territory.
Yeah. But so it's like somebody changed something in the past, clearly. But no, it's one of those, it's been that, any little thing changes the future, like Flashpoint. In this case, it's, technically Savitar couldn't have existed unless this Savitar killed the real Savitar somehow. And it's like, Jesus Christ, dude, you did your job. Mr. Meeseeks, go the fuck away. But and it might be the lack of coffee and the fact that we're recording this, now 30 minutes after I've woken up. But it doesn't seem to me like that would be possible with the time travel rules they've established. Like if it was the theory that I think most people ascribe to, which is it's a fixed timeline. If you go back, something always has to happen, but they haven't shown it to be that way. So I'm just kind of curious about how this works. If somebody understands it better in the comment section down below, let me know. But do you guys have any insights into how time travel works for scientists everywhere?
I forget what this I forget what this thing is. This thing's called, because there's like some story about this dude in the past who gets like this book from the future, and then like he uses it to like get successful and whatnot, and then he
Back
sends
to the Future
book
too.
back to the
No.
past to himself. So, like, it's this. I forget what the term is called that this is for, but there's a specific term for this type of like time paradox loop.
Yeah.
It's true. We might be, so this is, what you're saying is we might be living in the alternate 1985. Or the Flash, Team Flash, might be living in the alternate 1985. But I still think,
don't know.
They've established it's like, it's a fixed timeline, if you... Actually, no, they haven't established it's a fixed timeline. This only works if it's a fixed timeline, but previously they've done the Back to the Future 2, butterfly effect.
I think in, like, Season 1, they clarified that there's, like, alternate time stuff.
Yeah. That's true.
I mean...
That just begs the question, like, how is it?
Yeah.
My brain is melting.
And I mean, right now, they're kind of doing something where they're erasing Barry's memories. I think they fuck up and, like, he just loses his memories, period. And Savitar is apparently being affected by this, which... I don't know if that makes a whole lot of sense. I guess he is connected to Barry in some way, but at the same time, I feel like this should nullify him being Savitar if he's being affected, which I don't see why he should be, but...
Well, see, that's like
weird.
part of my thing is it's like they've jumped to this fixed timeline thing, and so that's one of the pieces of evidence of that is if it's a fixed timeline and Savitar, who is Barry, comes back in time and knows everything that's going to happen because it's already happened to him. Erasing your memories. Hold on. Erasing your memories would do something, but the question is, how did you've already established that changing one thing in the past changes something, so Savitar coming back from the future should have negated Savitar knowing anything, because his very coming back should have changed everything. So I don't understand.
The Flash.
They have like this thing on the show where it's a closed time loop where like Barry going to the future is apparently part of the original timeline that Savitar's from. Because he knew that Barry would go after that woman last week that he was going after, even though Barry would have had no knowledge if Savitar hadn't come back.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I guess it was also kind of weird because future Barry Allen didn't know that past Barry Allen would come back to the future.
Yeah. He also didn't know that he would find that scientist lady whose name I forget until 4 years later. So how did Savitar know?
That's true.
Yeah, this is...
It's getting a little wonky,
confusing.
guys. It's not holding up under the weight of our investigation here. This is what we do. This has been a Superfriends special report.
I don't know. Someone, I'm sure, will explain it in the comments.
Please explain it to me. But somebody actually, the last thing I guess we want to talk about in regards to this topic is comicbook.com did a really good article about this. Props to them. They did a really good article about this a couple days ago now. This is coming out on Thursday. It would have been Tuesday night when this came out. Basically saying, and something I agree with, Savitar's not Savitar. That's my hugest issue with the character. Savitar is one of my favorite Flash villains, believe it or not. People won't believe that, but he is.
I don't believe that.
Oh, it's true. He's
his
got a really interesting
superhero is Blackhawk.
That's true. But it's like, how dare you mock this? But no, he's not actually Savitar. He bears no resemblance to Savitar from the comics whatsoever, other than the fact that they call him Savitar. And I guess the armor, but even Savitar in the comics isn't really even wearing armor, if you can call it that. He's wearing like a helmet and like bangles.
Going bare chest.
Basically, he's rocking the bare chest. This Flash. Let's run down the list. This Savitar, excuse me, is technically this Flash. This Savitar is not a Cold War pilot. Did not get his powers from flying an experimental test plane. Does not have an awesome blue mullet and mustache combo. Does not have speed ninjas. Has never fought Max Mercury. It's one of those things where their origins are so completely different. It's like, how are you even calling this character Savitar? Well, comicbooks.com seems to have figured it out. Around the time that Savitar came out as a character, that is to say, kind of the mid-90s, after, in the period of time when Barry was dead, after Crisis, and Crisis on Infinite Earths, I should say, and Wally was the Flash. Wally's the one who fought Savitar, actually, in the comics. but there was a strange speedster that showed up with, a scar on his face, and it turned out that he was a Wally from the future, an alternate future in which he had lost like everybody he loved, and he wasn't an out and out villain. He was like Red Hood, more or less. He was like, I'm gonna kill all these criminals, be super rough, Nolan Batman-y. But it's one of those things where this is not Savitar, but it seems to draw more heavily from this incarnation of Wally, which I guess begs the question: it's, guys, why did they call him Savitar?
They needed a name for him.
That's true.
Yeah, there's not that many other speedsters that they could have taken from. I mean, they killed the rival, and
that's true.
I mean, I guess the only other one who's not technically a speedster they could have maybe done is Cobalt Blue, but
that's what I'm honestly, with the reveal, it would have made much more sense for it to be Cobalt Blue, but they probably didn't want to do that because it would give it away too early.
Yeah, I mean, again, he wasn't really Savitar even from the outset of the first few episodes. Yeah, he was doing the whole first speedster and what, like God of Speed or whatever. But I mean, he was, again, Josh pointed this out. He was a lot more like the Future Flash thing. I guess Josh called this a lot earlier than some people, but like he basically looked like the Future Flash. The whole story is kind of pulling from that, and this whole Future Wally thing. So I mean, they just needed a name like Savitar to draw mystery.
There you go. And in doing it, they ruined a good character.
You'll never get Savitar.
I'll never get.
now.
Well, no, I won't now. God damn it! If it'll be redeemed for me if he gets the mustache and mullet at some point over the course of the last 2 episodes.
It'll be burned onto his face.
There you go. Yes,
Blue
Grant
mustache
Gustin
and
with the
beard.
mullet and the mustache going shirtless.
I mean, I would watch. It would get me to watch. But
CJ, maybe you'll get him in the movies.
don't even joke about that.
In that Flash movie, that's definitely going to happen.
On that
Macho Man Barry Allen.
Yeah, let's do that,
Ooh,
please.
yeah. All right.
You're
on that
going
note-
nowhere, Flash.
You had to do it like Ezra Miller.
That would be so
Yeah,
fantastic.
man. Ooh, yeah,
So
man.
here's
I'm
why does that sound like
Savitar, man.
Mr. Poopy Butthole?
I think we talked about this subject enough.
But
Yeah, let's move
regardless,
on.
Let's get Grant Gustin to play Savitar in the Flash movies.
Let's get him to play Mr. Poopy Butthole in the Rick and Morty movie.
I could see it, but without further ado, we're going to move on to viewer questions in just a minute, but we do want to mention this episode has been brought to you by Loot Crate, that awesome subscription service. They'll send you a box of unique goodies every single month, including an exclusive t-shirt you won't find anywhere else. And this month's theme is Guardians, because, of course, Guardians 2 came out last weekend, and it's also going to have stuff from Destiny in there. Destiny 2 just recently announced. Star Wars, interestingly enough, and Goonies, kind of the odd man out, the black sheep. But if you're a Goonies fan, never been a better time to buy. And you can actually get that box 10% cheaper by using our exclusive link, www.trylootcrate.com/hybrid network, and the promo code BRIDGE10. We're going to have a link in the, in the description for this if you want to check that out. But yeah, so brought to you by Loot Crate. Go check that out, guys. It's good stuff. Without further ado, you guys ready for some viewer questions?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is part of the show that we always do. All right, first question. Jalen asks, #AskSuperFriends, what characters do you want to see return or debut in Young Justice Season 3? This is a tough one for me because there are already a lot of characters in Young Justice. But Tim, anybody you would particularly like to see show up or maybe come back?
Mine is Cassandra Cain, just because she's not used very often in outside media.
Luke?
I would have said Zatanna. Was Etrigan in Season 2?
I don't think he's shown up.
Okay, I want Etrigan then.
That'd be cool. I'm going to kind of say for the character that I'd like to see return, and I do think they're going to do this, but I do want to see Kid Flash show back up. I'll be interested to see how they make that happen, but
He will
I
be
feel like
Savitar.
he will be
Savitar.
hopefully with the blue mullet and
God damn it, he
mustache.
beat me. Fuck.
God damn it. Quick on the trigger. A character that I'd like to see debut. Not necessarily a character I'd like to see debut, but one I think will debut is Damian, just because when the show was first out, Damian was still a relatively new character. And at this point he's in so much Batman media, I think it's just gonna happen. So Jalen, hopefully that answered your question. Waru asks, #AskSuperFriends, should the Titans show be set in the CW-verse, the DCEU, or neither, and be its own thing? This is a tough one. Luke, what do you think?
I honestly think it should just be its own thing, because on the streaming service, I'm not sure how they could really make it connect with the CW stuff unless they get Wally from that series on The Flash and then bring him over to Titans. But I mean, in terms of like the DCEU, that I don't see that happening at all, because we have a Nightwing movie, and then Nightwing's in this show, and I think it's pretty low chances you're going to get the movie actor to do both roles. So I honestly think it should just be its own thing, and I don't think it's a problem if it's its own thing, because it gets it a little bit more freedom to set its own path and set its own tone and everything.
Yeah,
it's free of like CW stuff or DCEU stuff.
Truth. Tim, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I expect it to be its own thing, but in terms of like which one I'd prefer, I kind of want to go with the CW verse, just because they've already set up Roy and Wally there. It'd be a good way to extend them out.
Exactly. I think that would actually be like a great idea if you could connect the two if you got Colton Haynes back, and then you just take Wally from the show and kind of have him do his own thing on Titans. That, it's a huge question for me. I think Luke summed it up.
Let's do a twist here. It's set in the Powerless verse.
Ooh, there you go.
Season 1 ends with Sinestro trapping them in the Phantom Zone.
Oh no. That's Luke's favorite line on Powerless.
Stupid. Doesn't make any sense.
Regardless of that, I think I'm gonna go with the like Tim. The CW verse I think would be my preferred option, but realistically, I don't think they're gonna do either of them. I think it's gonna be its own thing, especially because of that Nightwing TV show, or the Nightwing TV show. Sorry, that has become Titans, but the Nightwing movie in the DCEU. I can tell you right now, it's not going to be the same actor, and if it is, that would be shocking. But moving on to the last question, one and only asks, if they ever do this, how would you? If they ever do this, how would you think they would bring in the version of Wally West from pre-Flashpoint in the Flash TV show? White Wally. How are we getting White Wally in the show? It was a tough question. Tim, any thoughts on bringing? I kind of want to say like devil's advocate here. How would it happen?
Yeah, right. Well, I'll start off saying I don't expect it to ever happen, but probably the only option they have is to just have a brief cameo of an alternate universe with a Ginger Wally.
True. Yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking as well. Luke, any thoughts on how you would bring in Ginger Wally?
Kind of the same thing. I don't really think there's any need to put him into the cast or anything, because it doesn't make sense. Like, we already have our Wally. The only reason it works in Rebirth is because we had that Wally before. We didn't, this is the only Wally we've had, so it doesn't really make sense to just make a white character put in there for no reason.
I kind of, like Tim said, I kind of go that route. I think, maybe they're, speaking of alternate universes and alternate timelines and whatnot, maybe you go to an alternate timeline and Wally is white for whatever reason. Just kind of in the background, just standing there, very Rick and Morty cameo-esque.
Just waving in the background.
That's how you do it. That's how you do
Morty.
it. And just in an episode of The Flash, in the last episode of Season 3, when he's fighting Savitar, there's just a white Wally in the background, just watching, waving. There you go. You have your white Wally now.
Exactly, and that would be awesome, and it would make Josh happy.
I expect them to do like a tongue-in-cheek reference to it, if they're explaining alternate universes to Wally on the clear piece of glass that they explain everything on, and they go, "There could be a universe where you're a white person."
Say what? But oh my goodness! On that note,
there's a universe where you're white. Say what?
And you're Iris's nephew.
Damn. How's that
anyway?
Work? Oh my goodness. All right. I think that's going to do it for us here. The early morning edition of Super Friends has come to a close. Once again, if you want to get your questions answered on the next episode, hit us up in the comment section down below using the hashtag AskSuperFriends. Ask your question, and we'll probably answer them. We usually try to answer most, if not all of them, if possible, unless they're 5, 6, 10, 20 questions. Never happened, but we will answer your questions if you pose them, whether it's that week or potentially a future week. If you got any topic ideas, hit us up in the comment section down below, and we might talk about that too. Any final thoughts, guys?
Nope.
Tim,
Yeah.
anything you want to say? All right. Well, in that
No.
case, for Tim and Luke, I've been CJ. This has been Super Friends episode 81 by Loot Crate, and we'll see you next time.